For now, though, Cash just turns down his render distance and watches over the server.
You cannot be serious right now.
Until he hears...
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, taking a break from some games, relaxing a bit, gonna doing some reactions. This is I got hired to watch over a server that doesn't exist by Zacko Builds. I did watch, I do watch some of his stuff. I watched like a year, like a year ago from it.
Boring.
Not react to it.
Hold it! Before the video starts, I know you see me talking to my phone, and a little weird considering I have a whole mic I could talk to, but we're not talking about that, okay? Me and you are having a conversation. You like the videos, I know you do. Who doesn't like, you know, some FNAF, some indie horror games, you know, like horror reactions? Like that's like the best stuff to watch. If you guys enjoy that, you're in the right place. I have playlists of stuff you guys can watch. You need something to sleep to, I got you, don't worry about it. Look at the playlists and on my channel, I know you'll love them, trust me. When I am doing this, there's only like 5% of you that are subscribed to my channel. It would really mean a lot if you like press the button that says subscribe. It's actually right underneath the video. It's right next to the like button, which you guys should also hit as well. It helps me out a lot. I would really appreciate it, and you know, we can actually we can have some fun. You know, we'll have some fun. We do fun horror games. You know, make sure to subscribe. Doesn't hurt. We can grow as a community. We'll have some fun times, and yeah. See you around.
Hello there. We are reaching out following a form where you indicated interest in the following role: Server Watchdog. We would love to offer you $4 per hour spent watching over the following server.
This screenshot is the banner image for a channel named Cashing Checks, but according to the player, Cash, he never filled out a form and has no idea how these people got his email. But out of curiosity, Cash decides to log on and check out this server. Cash loads in for his first night shift and is met with some signs welcoming him to the Outlook SMP. Now, the text on the signs seems to be a bit messed up, perhaps from like the server being upgraded from an older version. However, nothing else seems to be all too messed up. At least that is until...
Oh, that's weird.
All right, I see exactly why this server needs some admin. It has been griefed to high hell. You would think, though, that if Cash is supposed to admin for the server, he should probably have created...
It's interesting how some of these are missing texture. That's the block that Minecraft use. People don't play Minecraft. That's a block they use for when something's texture.
Creative mode, maybe some operator perms, but instead he seems to be forcibly stuck in survival mode. But this doesn't really matter because no one appears to be online and Cash is pretty much free to explore wherever he wants. As he explores this main area, he comes across a main conversation board of sorts. To the best I can read it, it says Goal 1, gather materials, equipment, etc. Goal 2, build main base. Goal 3, enjoy it all until he comes back. Of course, they're not going to tell us who he...
But like, that's like the main question, like who is he, you know?
He is, but beneath that it says, how long do we have, would you say? And then in very faint text, we see 2 weeks, maybe. So from this, we can...
Should look like a 2B2T server, bro. Looks atrocious.
Assume that someone is coming back soon, and that seems to be a bad thing. But best case, it's nothing.
This is like if the server was still civil, but like they are like attacking each other still.
Worst case, we could be looking at some sort of like stalker who keeps finding their way onto these people's Minecraft server. Cash certainly treats it like it's not important because he moves swiftly along to just raiding these bases for items, but all of the items available to him are A, glitched, and B, pretty much useless. Cash speaks to us for the first time and says, quote, "They told me not to interfere with the world, but it seems like people already did. Well, this is helpful because it's clear Cash has had further correspondence with this watchdog thing. But the kicker here is Cash tells us that he doesn't even have a texture pack on right now and even shows us. So the fact that he's seeing these textures and these items being the way they are is very, very weird. Cash informs us that the watchdog people
where did he get this random
told
ass
him
diamond?
that the daylight cycle
Probably
is tied
stillage.
to real life, meaning that wherever these players are, it's nighttime for them. And Cash says it's nighttime for him as well, so they might even be in the same time zone. Eventually though, Cash just decides to pillar up in the center of town and crank up his render distance to like watch over the area. Unfortunately, the second he does that, his PC starts to have an absolute crisis. Come on, Cash, showing up unprepared for the job? You didn't buy a fancy PC when you got hired? Come on. Well, Cash, I would love to canonically recommend you an Ironside PC. Not to go check it out in the link below. For now though, Cash just turns down his render distance and watches over the server.
Cannot be
for a
serious
bit
right now.
until he hears
Oh, hello? Okay. My mic wasn't picking my voice up for a second. I never want to hear that ever again. Username join.
You have been clocked out. Thank you for your
Show. Oh wait,
Your
he's
time.
probably gonna show it, right?
all right, let's talk about this, I guess. That was a goat horn that is in the vanilla game. However,
That's a goat
that's not
horn?
something that can simply be done or played without a player blowing into the horn. And as we can see, no one is online right after that noise is played.
The editing for this video is amazing. I just want to say that. I'm gonna shut up.
Until we
Okay.
see a player join with just the username. Potentially, if Cash had been holding down tab when they did join, we might have been able to see like a player skin, but even that seems unknown. And I don't like unknowns. So let's start getting some knowns in here. Cash is back for another night shift, but this time when he logs on, that pillar he was on has been removed, so he just sort of...
Died.
But once he respawns, he finds that his stuff is gone and a message is sent into the chat.
Please do not intrude into the server/movement blocks or items.
To which Cash responds,
Word. Word. Yo, he's crazy.
dude, you like got him. That was so good. Cash does indeed try to tread a bit more lightly, and he heads back to the house with the enchantment table again. Cash starts looking through stuff, and by looking through stuff, I mean looking through stuff. He's going through chests, ripping through the bookshelves, and
I didn't even know you could do that with the. That's actually low key cool. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to steal that.
a literal secret passageway in a bookshelf. Come on, it doesn't get much better than that. So Cash makes his way down and sees tunnels, seemingly man-made tunnels. Cash walks around through them and eventually finds another ladder that leads him up into a different one of the houses. So these tunnels essentially just connect each house together. It's finally at this point that Cash realizes the book he grabbed is a book and quill.
So it's like a secret passage to like underground tunnel, like to connect them together. That's cool.
And he reads,
Don't listen to whatever he told you. It's probably lies. And if you are him, you.
all right, some fighting
Word.
words for this alleged him. But clearly, whatever this book is talking about is something that went down on this server.
You can at least plant the seeds back down.
And what that is remains to be seen. But eventually, Cash makes his way over to this
Also, I need to know if you guys would rather me pause and talk or talk over the video.
signboard again. And
I
this
guess I would
time,
assume you guys
all
want-
the signs
want me
seem
to
to be
pause.
gone. This confirms at least that someone has been on this world since he was last logged on. And I believe Cash realizes that too, because he decides to write a sign of his own. And he says,
Hello? Can anyone see this?
well, based off of that dark oak, no, I cannot. Jesus. He grabs some yellow dye so it's actually legible and then continues exploring. He finds another secret way into
I did not know you can do that. I know in Bedrock you can do the stuff for color it, but I didn't know you could do that.
the tunnels. And then eventually he just freezes and goes AFK for a while. When he does come back eventually, he says, quote, sorry, I think there was a deer outside or something. He then decides he wants to check out the Nether, and he gets a block so that he can get in there, and of course he gets disconnected. You can call it a coincidence. I'm gonna call it tactical nerfing. Now, this whole mention of seeing something in real life, I'm personally going to chalk up to paranoia for now. I mean, you're doing a night shift. This is the second night that Cash has presumably stayed up late, and probably you're going to be pretty paranoid the entire time. So with that being said, let's move to this third shift where some stuff goes down. We log back on and we are immediately met with another message from the Watchdog protocol saying,
Please stop modifying the server. Your game mode has been updated.
And unfortunately, it's correct. Cash is no longer in survival. He's in adventure mode now, which means he can't place or break blocks, which sucks because he has received a response. It says, yes, but who are you? And Cash can't edit these signs anymore, so we don't know how Cash...
That's so stupid. Why can't he, why did it take that away from him, man? Like, well, watch over, what happens, like, if he needs to break something, you know? Like, if he sees something and he can't, like, do anything about it.
Is going to be able to respond to, oh, yeah, that's smart. He can use the book. Cash writes into the book, hi, still me. My name is Cash. I was hired to watch over this server. Who are you? But Cash needs somewhere to put this book, and very smartly, he goes over to that bookshelf, assuming that if anyone else tries to use the secret passageway, they'll get the book and maybe see the message. But we have to wait until...
Someone's in there? What? Wait, what?
And just like that, the book is gone. My heart dropped because I thought this watchdog protocol like had taken the book or something, but after a little bit, the book returns. Cash opens it and it reads, you are what to watch over the server? Your typing is weird.
What? They use X's. Like, did they use it on the O's? You were what? You use it on the E. For what to watch? They use it on E's and O's and I's. Use it.
It seems that when this person reads our text, it also has the weird X's. So Cash responds, someone hired me to watch over this.
They use it on what, vowels, right? A-E-I-O. Yeah, they use it on vowels. Most of them.
Server. I'm getting paid to log on and play. And then asks again, who are you? He puts the book back, and then after a bit, we get a response that says, I don't...
Where is he coming from? That's so scary.
Leave me alone. Cash tries to write back saying he's just as confused as they are, but after waiting a while, it's clear that this person has fully gone and isn't responding. He leaves the book there, but goes and tries to figure out some more information on anywhere this person could have gone. But this opens an interesting thing because typically in Minecraft, there's always some sort of tell for where a person is. If they've got invisibility potions, you see the bubbles. Even if you use a command to get rid of the bubbles, you can see like ground particles. But in all of these shots where the player should be here, there is nothing you can see of them. It is literally as though they are a ghost on this world. Cash is looking around in one of the other houses when he suddenly comes across a very well hidden barrel, and it has a book inside. Now, unfortunately, it's unsigned. However, it does have some very interesting text.
I know he's real. I hear him behind me all the time. I can feel his eyes watching me. No one ever fucking believes me, but I know it's real.
Another classic, oh, someone's watching me trope. I'm bored. Can I play Candy Crush on your phone? Anyway, as Cash looks around,
that was so random.
A weirdly placed button, and upon pressing it, it actually opens a secret door. But right as he goes down it, his game crashes.
There's no
way,
bro.
A message pops up from him saying that this is pretty typical for his PC, and eventually he logs back in. And when he does, Cash tells us,
I gave my friend the server IP so he could log on and check this out with me. But when he tried to get on, it said he wasn't whitelisted. But I never sent that email, my gamertag.
Oh boy. So for those who don't know, whitelisting on Minecraft basically lets only select gamer tags to be allowed on to a Minecraft server. But you need to know their gamer tag in order to do this. And according to Cash, he never sent these people his gamer tag.
That's so
somehow,
weird.
his player was whitelisted. This just confuses me further because the only person we've talked to on this server has no idea who Cash is, so they certainly wouldn't have whitelisted him to the server, right? And this world was also very clearly griefed, so if it had a whitelist the whole time, that couldn't happen. Anyway, Cash makes his way back over to where he was and drops back down into just the tunnels again. But we see a very quick glimpse of like a passageway opening, and he makes his way over to it and tries to find whatever button or trigger just opened it, but there's nothing
What is with this redstone in this place right now? Like, this is crazy.
around. But Cash is actually a genius, and he tells us to hold on because he has an idea. And he comes back and shows us that he's downloaded an X-ray shader pack. He's realized that if this is another redstone door, he can try to figure out where it's located and what the input to it is. And when he takes a look, we can see that there's a skulk sensor that seems to be what opens this door, but Cash, for the life of him, cannot trigger it. There's nothing I can see that says why this wouldn't work, and clearly someone just triggered the skulk sensor because the door opened. But eventually Cash just takes a break from his computer, and we see the screen go black again, and Cash basically explains that he saw something outside his window again, and he went to take a picture of it, and he shows it to us, and it is corrupted badly.
That's scary. What even is that? Ew.
Cash puts up some arrows of like what we're
gross.
supposed to be looking at, but the weirdest thing about this all to me is Cash never acknowledges that the image is corrupted. Cash says there are often a lot of deer in his yard, so he just went back to playing. He is truly just walking down this hallway, and I don't know about y'all,
Can someone get this guy some food? Like, his hunger is getting a little too low.
but
What happened to the seeds and stuff that he had?
Cash's reflexes are insane. You can hear the skulk sensor go off, the door opens, and he's just barely able to make it inside before it shuts again. But inside where exactly? Cash turns around and is in this massive room of sorts. There's two sets of books at the end, and when Cash opens them, we are met with this monstrosity. And
Well, we know that it's vowels that are the X's, right? So maybe there could be spaces. Maybe like they can also be spaces as well, right?
there are several like pages of these inside of the different books. Now, luckily, Cash shows it all to us, so I can give you a breakdown. Let's take a look at this first page, right? We can see that aside from all this gibberish, there seems to be a lot of X's in here. Now, the X's are all over this server, so I think that this is so confusing because it's like two different encoding methods on top of each other. So I'm going to ignore the X's and try to figure out what the original encoding process is. X's aside, all of these words end in OW, and now this rung a bell, but I didn't know why. And after some Googling, I realized it's because this is basically how Pig Latin works. In Pig Latin, you take a word, you rip off the first consonants, and you put it at the end, and then you add AY. I remember this because back in like grade school, kids would like make their own languages by just changing the AY to something else, and it would sound like a pretty distinct language. And in this case, they seem to have chosen OW as the ending sound. So if you take this
I know, I really thought this was my water.
text, remove all the ows, we're actually closer to legible text. Then all we have to do is move any consonants from the end to the front. However, with so many X's in the mix, it makes it really hard to know when there's a consonant or not. So to the best of my knowledge, what this says is, this is a basic sentence, so you can practice the new code. Remember that the code word is ow. I'm a way, iterale, enius gay. I'm a genius. Let's look at another page, shall we? If we remove the ows, shift consonants to the front, and fix the X's that are obvious, we read,
I would have never even thought of Pig Latin like to be used for this. Like, that's actually pretty smart. That's actually cool, to be honest. I honestly thought like it was like spaces with the X's. Like the X's are spaces and vowels, like A-E-I-O-U. So I probably would have just done those instead of getting rid of the end part.
do you actually believe him? I think he's a hacker that somehow keeps finding us or something.
Never mind, it's not Val's because I was just.
Now, upon initially reading this, I thought
gets rid of my
whoever is
theory.
talking
Okay.
here was talking about Cash. It speaks about whether or not they want to believe him and how he keeps finding us. But this text is towards the beginning of the first book. So this maybe took place a while ago. And I think this because there's a page on the other book that reads like this. Hey, I just spoke with someone who seemed to be the same person who wrote on the signs. Says his name is Cash, something was hired to watch over the server. If he's playing a trick on us, it's a weird trick to play. I don't know. Basically, this person is talking about Cash, and this is clearly whoever spoke with Cash prior. It literally mentions it by name, but this leaves into question who the book was talking about prior. It talks about he again, and that he keeps finding us. Now, to me, that could mean maybe they're hiding from like a stalker almost that keeps getting into their server. Going back to Cash on the server, he gets kicked off pretty soon after, and it's clear that someone doesn't want him in there because when he logs on for his next shift, he is told that his location will be reset every minute. What does that mean? Well, basically, as he's wandering around, after a minute goes by, he is just teleported right back to the start.
Oh, that would be so annoying. I would just never watch this server ever again.
And Cash tries to continue looking around for new information or anyone to talk to, but with his location getting reset,
Someone needs to get this guy food. He's gonna die. He has 3 hunger bars. Please.
so often he gives up and says that he's just gonna sit here and get paid, which is fair. And it's at that point that we see editor Cash come on back and says that he fell asleep while just sitting there on the server, which adds up. This man has stayed up so late, so many nights. But he tells us that when he looked back at the footage, he saw this happen. Cash says that he'll check that chest next time he logs on. But come on, is it ever that easy? Because Cash logs on again.
What the? Where did they just put him? Where is he? What is this? What am I looking at right now? Oh, we can break stuff now. Interesting. We can make that. Get in there, man. Get some food. Should've took that wheat. I would've took that. I would've stole that wheat and made some bread, bro.
Did you see that?
No, I
When
didn't.
Cash walked inside, the textures all seemed to change. And
It
when
did?
he walks back out, right back to normal. It's clear Cash notices this, but all he has to say on the matter
Oh.
is wild. And then he continues to look around this house. For once, the chests actually have items, not some distorted,
That was old wheat.
glitchy version of items. And there's furnaces, there's a bed. It truly seems to be a normal house. However, when he gets to this top floor, he's looking through chests and sees a painting. And when he checks it, there's a secret room behind it, covered in signs that seem to be like a journal of sorts. It's the first time we've seen signs that don't have X's all over them, and they read,
They promised me that I won't be left out again. They went to fight the dragon without me. They said they thought I wasn't online. Swear I didn't show up in the tab menu. Yeah, right.
Cash mentions that he had people not showing up the tab menu earlier.
They helped me build my base some more. They just feel bad for me. I'm tired. Barely anyone is playing anymore. I don't know why I keep playing.
This
This is low-key sad, bro. He just wanted to play with his friends and he kept leaving him out. Oh.
is interesting, but also a little too on the nose. I feel as though we've seen so much information get distorted that the fact that that isn't makes me not want to trust it. But essentially what's happening here... Was this? That wasn't there before.
It wasn't? My mouse said, hello? Let's check.
Normal. It's clear Cash notices this, but all he has to say on the matter is wild.
That's interesting. It's weird.
Was this? That wasn't there before. Right? The answer, of course, is no. But Cash makes his way down this staircase, and we are met with signs in just all caps, screaming at us more or less, and we even have our X's that seem to have returned. I'll let you pause if you want to read any of this. It's mostly generic ooky spooky stuff, but the scary thing is...
That would be crazy, especially with no one on the server. That would be that would spook.
This is the first time
Would be out in this random place, though, you know?
on this server that we have heard movement of another player. And the weird thing is, we heard a door open, but all of the doors are exactly how Cash left them prior. Cash goes to return to that basement area and is immediately clocked out. This was a lot of information, and I want you to tuck everything you just saw in the back of your mind as I go into what comes next. Cash posted on his community tab that he was able to get onto the normal server again and check that chest before he was immediately clocked out. But he took 2 screenshots of the 2 pages, and they look like this.
Going out on a limb and trusting
We read,
you.
I'm going out on a limb and trusting you are who you say you are. But to be safe, you gotta solve this. The answer is right in front of you, then right. And on the next page, we see multiple of like a link that's been jumbled, and whoever did this is very smart because they pasted it several times to account for the X glitch. I tried some basic ciphers online before I decided to use that big old juicy brain I got upstairs, and I realized that in front of Cash, presumably, all the time, is a keyboard. So this is probably just a keyboard cipher where you take your keyboard and you shift all the letters one way or another. So if you do that with our lovely gibberish here, we get a YouTube link to an unlisted video that is just a black screen, but with this audio.
It's honestly so stupid that I'm even doing this, but just in case you're a real person, somehow you should know what's going on. This is a Minecraft server where my friends and I play Minecraft on, and it's just normal until we started getting harassed by this guy, and he kept making his way onto our server to the point where we got a new one. Then he found that one, but no matter what we do, he won't leave us alone. Joe, one of my friends, thinks it's a literal ghost because we even tried banning his IP, but it didn't stop him. Basically, around the time it started, one of my friends did this whole thing where he convinced us that there's this thing called the God Watcher or something. It was just a Bloody Mary knockoff. If you said the name 3 times, it would come, yada yada. Anyway, you're not even gonna find this thing.
This is quite the interesting story.
Excuse me. And I forgot what I was gonna say.
But I agree with whoever's speaking here. Odds are this God Watcher thing was just a prank made up by a friend. Why are the letters moving? Oh my God, guys, no way! Sorry, I'll take this serious.
That's insane. I honestly did not even think to scramble letters like that.
Basically, the God Watcher is a entity that is on the Minecraft Entities Wiki, and it says, the God Watcher is an urban myth long lost to Minecraft versions gone by. It is rumored to be a spirit that chose to live in the digital world of Minecraft rather than pass on to the next life. The The God Watcher implores the player to say its name 3 times while placing a poppy each time. This not only grants the God Watcher into your world, but also ties it to your player so that wherever you go, it may follow. However, there's a part that talks about the different things that this entity will do to players, and the one that stands out the most is how it says the most consistent occurrence is an increase in coal generation on every world the player joins. Earlier in these videos, I had noticed that in these tunnels there was an impressive amount of coal in the walls, especially since if it were me, I would have mined all of that to get some torches or something. But now I'm starting to think that coal is there for a very different reason.
Interesting how, like how we said the texture changes, right? Because when you go into the house, you go back to the old textures from like whatever, I don't like OG Minecraft, and then when you back to the textures.
And
So
judging by the fact that
weird.
this article talks about how it torments people and makes them see things that aren't there, I'm a bit worried about the future of our lovely Cash. The next video isn't Cash logging onto the server, but instead it's him talking in a Google Doc with someone, and it appears to be that same mystery person who created that video. Based off the channel name before, I'm gonna call this person Riley, and Riley says that she's still really paranoid, and Cash says that's fine, I think you have a reason to be. Cash re-explains everything we know about this whole getting hired thing, but actually does mention that he has gotten paid from these people, that they sent him like $42. Cash asks Riley to tell him more about this whole God Watcher thing, and before Riley can respond, a notification pops up for Cash of a Ring doorbell. I don't know if this is important, but I'm legally obligated to tell you about it, so there it is. Riley once again pushes off the God Watcher thing, saying it was just a thing that her old friends made up on their first SMP, and Cash asks if they still have that server, and Riley says that they actually do. Cash logs on to this very distorted Minecraft server. The last server doesn't even hold a torch to this one when it comes to level of messed up. And Cash is literally just looking around this server,
So many
checking
missing
chests, and trying to
textures.
find anything of you.
My guy thinks this is not Saw. What is this? What are you talking about? No, I don't want to play a game. And I'm gonna pause. Watch that be the same horrid noise we heard at the beginning of this. Who's dumb? Oh hell no. Oh hell no. I'm logging off, destroying the PC, putting it in a fire, and putting my nutsack into a blender. Like, what are we playing, bro? Oh hell no. There's 2 of them, or there's 1 person going back and forth. Oh, he needs to smell all the iron. I would be going in there and getting more coal. But even if he got more coal, there's no... Because, like, even if he got more coal, he was dead there. Okay. Unless the furnace was just there to give him light.
Now, whatever that was, I certainly didn't enjoy it, but it seems to be morning. And Cash actually goes back to that document he was talking to Riley on. And Riley says, I forgot the last time I played on this server was on my old account, so neither of us are whitelisted and can't get on. And Cash says, I was able to get on. I don't understand how this keeps happening. Cash is somehow once again whitelisted for a server he shouldn't be on. Cash goes back to playing on the server and exploring his way around, and he makes his way down one of the tunnels and finds this.
I wonder if that horn is the same horn over here at the beginning of the video.
Room, I guess, that didn't seem to be there before. And upon going inside, we see an area that has 3 spots and 3 poppies. Cash pulls out the document again, and we can see that Riley is just going crazy.
What's going on?
Is that Riley's voice? Like, isn't that the voice we heard when it was talking when he opened the video and it was talking, the girl was talking? Isn't that Riley's voice? Or am I tweaking? Why are you not looking over here? He just said don't place the stuff.
Cash's next video is him playing on a seemingly brand new server, when suddenly Riley joins. Cash walks over to her and says, hey, to which she says, Cash replies and says it's because he took care of the whole God Watcher thing. Cash says, well, you said it was tied to your friend's Minecraft account, right? Cash says, well, I moved it to mine. And Cash says because all he had to do was deactivate his account and buy a new one. And I didn't notice before, but his gamertag has changed from cashing checks to checks cashed. Cash goes on to explain that the quote God Watcher took care of the bill. Apparently $42 is just enough for a new Minecraft account and a large pizza.
Would have. What do you mean would have? Why wouldn't it work? Like what? Shouldn't it work? Or no? Like what? What if that's the God Watcher? And the way she just disappeared is low-key crazy. I did not mean to pause. Oh hell no. What in the world?
It was no coincidence that Cash was in the same time zone as the people who played on this server. He was one of the people that played on this server. That's why he was white.
He was? What do you mean he was?
Listed on every server he joined. He wasn't the next person the God Watcher would torment. He was the current. It somehow convinced him that he was a whole other person trying to solve this mysterious server. All to remember just how wrong he was. The next day after this video was posted, Cash's profile picture
Yo, that's crazy plot twist, low key. I don't know why I didn't think about that. That's crazy.
changed to this image. And since I've edited this video, I went back to Riley's channel, and at some point, it was also changed to that same image. I have not been able to get into contact with either of them.
Bro, clap it up, man. Clap it up, man. That's crazy. So, I would assume Riley was the God Watcher, right? With the way everything just happened at the end. Yo, that's insane. Bro, that was a good ass video. Yo, that was crazy. Wow, that was good. That was good. I'm like that like twist at the end, like I didn't even think about that. Like that makes so much sense. Wow. That makes so much sense. Well, if you guys liked today's video, make sure to like and subscribe. And we'll be having more videos out all December. My best. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.